What's up, guys? Welcome back for another episode of Nash and Arnold's. We're wrapping up. This will be my last week of this block. We'll go into a couple weeks of deload and then start preparations for the two big meets that are upcoming here. For anyone who didn't catch me talking about my choice of meets over the last little while, I decided to drop out of the 3-lift equipped at the Arnold, and I'm gonna do the deadlift only equipped at the Arnold. So I'm gonna do Raw Nationals, very end of February, and then I'm gonna be going into equipped, equipped deadlift only at the Arnold about a week later or so. I decided that I kind of wanted to just focus on one thing, and with Classic Worlds coming up, hopefully I make the team. And I would like to try and be as competitive as possible at that meet specifically. So I've decided to sort of pare down the number of things that I'm trying to focus on. You can't do it all, you can't be good at it all at the same time, or at least it's very hard to be. So that's my decision-making process there. But let's get down to today's training. Sorry, as a bit of a preface, I've been away the last couple weeks. Some of you guys who follow on Instagram might have seen some deadlifts at a couple of Good Life gyms, pulling on noodle bars. I was only able to fit a certain amount of weight, so I ended up taking a really big jump from what I had hit in the gym previously. Coming back into the gym, not able to replicate that on a stiff bar, that's for sure. So yesterday I worked up to 375, and we won't have footage of this, or maybe Dylan could put in for my cell phone or whatever. But worked up to 375 and missed it. Like it came off the floor and just punched me right over, and it was a garbage wrap, so called it there. Deadlift feeling like maybe I'm a little past my peak for this block on the pull, but it's hard to say with a couple of, I don't know, YOLO-ish pulls over the last couple of weeks. I could just, be seeing some refractory period from that. But anyways, getting into today. Today was pause squats. I've replaced pin squats with pause squats, and I'm very glad that I did so. I've also started adding my belt on my accessory movements, because for me, adding the belt decreases the amount of hip pain because it allows me to brace a little bit better and allows me to focus on some cues that really help me reduce my hip pain when squatting. So I think from now on, I'll be using my belt on accessory movements. But pause squats today. Worked up to 252.5 for a single, and that was a little over RPE. I would probably call that 8.5 or a 9. Last week, 245 it moved really, really well. So I thought I would have had it in me to go for it, but it just wasn't there today. Took 230, 227, 230, somewhere in that range for 4 paused. And those were definitely a 9, if not a 9.5. Again, just kind of not, didn't quite have the jam for it today. And my hips started bugging me by the end of that set, so I didn't do my load drop. From there, moved on to the incline bench. The incline bench was a little bit slower than the last time I did it. Hit 145 at about an 8.5, and that's still a PR, so that's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna try to take 150 on my last day here. When I started doing the incline presses, my goal was to try and get, I think it was like 300 or 315 on the incline, and now if I get this, if I get 150, that's 330. So that's kind of a cool milestone, and I've seen a lot of progress on that incline press throughout this block, so I'm stoked on that. Hit 130 after that for, I think, a set of 4 at about a 9.5, and I wasn't sure if I would have that last rep in me, so I just racked it there and kind of called it. Came down, did my drop volume, 122.5 kilos for a nice easy set of 5. Those moved really well. I think maybe I didn't quite rest long enough before my 130 for 5 attempt, but whatever. So my chain deadlifts today, worked up to my last warm-up and missed it. It just wasn't there. My deadlift's been kind of hit and miss. My lifting's been kind of hit and miss lately. I think there's a ton of factors involved. We're trying some different stuff with my programming. My nutrition's been really crappy lately, and that's nobody's fault but my own. So yeah, anyways, deadlifts just really didn't go well today. I wasn't able to break my last warm-up off the floor for a single. I missed it twice. First time just glued to the floor. Second time broke by about 1 millimeter, and it just quit. So I don't know. Hopefully I'll be able to salvage a good deadlift or 2 in my second sessions this week. But it's the very end of the block, so there might be some issues with with peak timing and that kind of stuff. So we'll figure it all out when we analyze the data at the end of everything. So I called my deadlifts there, didn't do any more chain deadlifts. Went on to the next exercise, which for me today was chain bench. And chain bench was pretty good. I hit 145 for my single, same as last week, or sorry, same as I guess it would be Saturday. But it moved about the same. Didn't really see much change in the speed there. It was still a little slow. But my volume work, which was the same as last week as well, moved much, much better. So 132.5 for a triple, and then 135 for a triple, and then 127.5 for a triple there. After that, I finished up with some seated chest supported rows, and I've talked before about how much I really, really enjoy doing those. It's been a little bit of a break from those because I was away at other gyms, didn't have access to that hammer strength machine, so, and time constraints and holidays and blah, 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 but I didn't do them. So I was happy to do them today. It felt good on the old shoulder. So yeah, that's the wrap up for today. Like I said, we're coming up to the very, very end of this block. So hopefully I'm gonna try some cool stuff in the next few weeks and end with a bit of a bang in this training cycle, sort of see where things are at. I feel like I might have a bench PR in me. I might have a bench PR in me, but that's all I'll say about that. Let's get on to the question of the day. So our question of the day today comes from Alatoth. Now he says he's got a bulge disc in his lower back about 1.5 years ago. Took 8 months off, and since then starting to train again, things have been feeling pretty good. However, it's something that keeps coming back, especially when he goes heavy and technique suffers. Currently, he's re-aggravated the injury and is considering giving up on powerlifting. Do I have any experience coaching spinal injuries or how to progress your strength without training in a powerlifting style? So first off, there is a really, really key concept in there that I want to address, and that's that your technique suffers. You have a spinal injury, it's reoccurring, and you're going to the point where your technique suffers. That's just not a recipe for progress. And that's something that I definitely battle with on the daily. And I don't know how much of it got into that last video, but I've been ready to quit. I've been that worked up and that feeling like I'm beating my head against the wall. So yes, I totally get that. There's an aspect of that in a lot of things. But the biggest thing I want you to focus on is don't let your technique suffer. If you're getting back into things and lifting's going well, don't push it. Take it really slow. You have an injury, you have a history of re-aggravating that injury. So that means that you're lifting with an injury. You're not injury-free for a long, long, long time. So you need to treat yourself as if you're lifting with an injury, meaning don't go heavy too early or too quickly or too fast. Don't be impatient, and don't let your technique suffer. If your technique is suffering and you feel like you're in any risk of re-aggravating your injury, dial it back. Do less reps, do less weight. You can still train in a powerlifting style. You can still follow a lot of the popular programs or whatever programming you gravitate towards, but you can't lift like a person who doesn't have an injury. You can't gut through those lifts where, oh, lost my back, but I'm just gonna, finish my squat morning here. You don't have that option. Unfortunately, that's what it means to lift with an injury. And that's something that I've been doing and battling with for so long now. And I'm probably more than likely gonna have to take some serious time off after Worlds to try and get into the point where things are feeling good again. Because it's a perpetual cycle. You keep aggravating it, and unless you actually give it the appropriate time to heal, you're not going to be lifting injury-free. So that's my sort of long-winded explanation of how I would coach somebody or try to deal with somebody who's having those issues. Your focus needs to be getting healthy again, not getting strong again. Your focus is on getting injury-free and being able to lift without pain. That's it. Once that happens, then you can start redirecting your focus towards getting strong, but don't let your technique go. Don't put yourself at risk for injury. Don't do it. That's about it, guys. We are gonna have this apparel and this apparel available for another little while here. We're gonna be putting out some new stuff soon. We'll show you guys some previews as soon as we get all that lined up. But thanks to everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody had a great holiday. Hope everybody stayed warm and safe out there. And we will see you guys in the next video.